So we welcome to the program, making his Rod Pedersen Show debut, Commissioner Randy Ambrosie. Good morning, Randy. How you doing?
Good morning, Rod. How are things out your way?
100%. They're licking their wounds a little bit here in the Rider Nation, as you can well imagine, after the Banjo Bowl, which is where I'll start. I was told that you were in Winnipeg for the Banjo Bowl Saturday. How was that experience?
Yeah, I was there, and I'd say there were a lot of happy Winnipeggers. The stadium was just as alive and vibrant as a stadium can be. I think everyone had an amazing time, obviously in this case at the Riders' expense. But I'd say even beyond that, there was a great game day atmosphere in that stadium, and that's, we need to do more of that in the CFL.
I like the 9 hours of straight football. It started last year. You obviously liked it enough to continue it this year. What's your take on tripleheaders in the CFL in the fall?
Well, Rod, I like them. I think, again, part of what we were trying to do in working with TSN was really kind of establish a real schedule for how people can think about our games. So during the summer season, we're going to be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday league. In the, after Labor Day, we're going to be a Friday, Saturday league. And Rod, for many years, and I'm sure you heard the same things, people kind of said, well, when are your games on? And because, a lot of us are into kind of scheduled TV watching. And this way, I think now people know that, in the fall, you're going to get your Friday night fix, and then you're going to get your Saturday fix. So, I like it myself. I hope over time it'll, just keep growing and growing a fan base that come to, plan their Saturdays around a great CFL football.
I got a list of questions for you. I got two guys in the bunker with me, and the fans have just lit up the Facebook wall with questions. So I'll try to get mine out of the way quick. But we had Tori Gurley on here last hour, Randy. He mentioned the NFL had an event in Canada, downtown Toronto yesterday, or was it, I think it was yesterday that he was at. How does it make you feel that they come into your backyard like that and market themselves as a league in Toronto, being the commissioner of the CFL like you are?
Yeah, Rod, look, I'm more focused on what do we do to take our league to the next level. Like, I'm never going to stand in the way of somebody, wanting to promote their product. I happen to really like ours. And I think, frankly, over a long period of time, we can claim real superiority over the football market. We just have to work hard at it. We're now reaching out into the world. We're no longer, the second of two leagues. We're the second biggest of 50. We want to take that position, and we're out there visiting all kinds of countries and making new friends around the football world. So, Rod, they want to have an event here, great, but I'm focused on our plan, and we're going to have the biggest, strongest CFL we've ever had in our long and storied history.
Well, it seems like things are going in the right direction, Randy. It's Darren Dupont here. And I think Rod maybe had CFL 2.0 on his hit list a little bit. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was the future of the media landscape and where you and the league kind of see things going. We're hearing about a potential new TV deal with TSN being announced, and we hear that they've been a great partner for you. But, you see shows like this popping up and different things. How do you kind of see navigating through this next kind of 5 to 10 year cycle in the new media and kind of that landscape as you continue to grow the league?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's top of mind for us literally every day. But the nice thing is we have in TSN this remarkable partner that has almost infinite capabilities. They've got their own streaming platform. Obviously, we're excited about being part of that going forward. Look, I think about this really in this next phase in kind of two different tranches. The first is let's really solidify ourselves. Let's kind of reinvent this league around some new ideas. Let's build some momentum, and then take that into phase two, where we use that momentum that we built, this kind of new foundation, being a great partner, doing more things to think like a partner would think. How do we help how do we support one another? How do we work more collaboratively together? And then that second phase takes us into what I, would to say a back half of a deal. And then from there, I think the sky's the limit. By that point, I literally hope that we would have somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 10 international broadcast deals. We'll have, by that time, really established ourselves as the true international football league for the world. The best players around the world are going to want to come play here. We're going to be drawing those fans in from around the world, as we've already seen happening. It's going to make us bigger and stronger. I think we do all those things, the whole world will be our oyster.
Along that vein, and here's one for you. I mean, that 40,000 attendance in Edmonton Saturday night was an eye popper. Like, wow. If you go back 1 year, Randy, from all the murky waters, choppy waters this league was in to where you are now, and add up all the air miles you've put on, by the way, are you happy with this last 12 months and where the league is now compared to a year ago?
Yeah, I am. Rod, I try to mark my time being objective. We've done some really good things. I think there are, in fact, we have a Board of Governors meeting tomorrow. I'm going to be able to stand in front of the governors, give an update on a lot of positive developments. I'm also going to say, in the spirit of full transparency, there are some things we need to work at and do better. We're certainly a work in progress. But I'm personally satisfied that we're on the right track. I think we're building momentum. We have to fight for every inch that we'll gain in the days ahead. But Rod, I think there are lots of reasons to smile. I certainly do. I wake up every morning. First of all, I wake up thankful. I wake up that feeling that I'm maybe the luckiest guy in this country, that I was selected by our board to do this job, because I really believe in the direction we're taking. And I do think we've made a lot of progress, making a lot of new friends around the world. There's no reason for us to be second to anybody. Let's be the big international, the big global football league. Let's take that. Let's lock that supremacy, our place in the world as the place where international players want to come to play this game. Let's send a bunch of Canadian kids out to play out in the football playing world and give them more experiences. I'm in love with that idea, and we do a lot of these things well. We're destined to be a much bigger, much stronger CFL.
Commissioner, hey, this is Craig Smith here, 19 years in the league, and also a University of Manitoba grad as well. I just wanted to ask a question with regards to the salary cap. I've been in the front office for many, many years, and of course now with the salary cap teams, how can a team, if they're not doing well, how can they make a change? Fire a guy and then hire somebody, but how can they do that if there's no money to do because there's a cap? And the other thing is I got hit in between the eyes with regards to leukemia and a stem cell transplant. Been away from the game for 2 years, but obviously I would like to get back. But if I, say in September I wanted to come back, I couldn't come back because of the the hamstrung teams. Obviously there was one team that was a spender, and that was probably the reason why the cap is in. But how do you respond to that?
Yeah, so look, I think it's a good question. First of all, go Bisons.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, look, we've created inside of that structure, we've created a mechanism so that if a team needs to make a change, they can make a change. There's a formula there that I think does allow our team some flexibility. Look, the idea here is not to restrain our team's ability to run their businesses. It's just to run a better business. Look, the longer term vision for me is how do we create an ecosystem where everybody feels aligned to the long-term goals? How do we get our coaches and GMs and all of our non-player football operations group to feel part of what we're building, so that when we come at them with a new idea that they embrace it because they see that it's not just good for the league, but it's good for them? How do we do that with our players? Look, I love these guys. Every week I'm in a stadium. Every week I go down to the field. I stand next to these young men that are playing our game, and I feel such a sense of hope and passion to help them do better. part of it is, we've got to now change the way we think about our relationship with our players. We got to find a way to create alignment. Let's create a big vision together. Let's create a way of sharing the riches as they come, so that as the league does better, everyone does better together. I think about our alumni. How do we tie our alumni into this? How do we make our alumni this army of remarkable guys that played this game like you and I, that love every bit of it? And how do we tie them in so they feel like they're part of this future that we're building? So really it's all of our stakeholders. So it's again, we're trying to put in place some structure so that we're running a good business, just good day-to-day operations. But really the bigger story, I believe, is how do we set ourselves up so that everyone wants us to do better together? Because there's an army of people out there, players, coaches, alumni, and our fans. How do we make them all feel like they are part of this gigantic CFL that we're building?
You watched those NFL games this weekend. You saw in Chicago and New England, the alum coming out waving towels out of the tunnel. That looked good. So I'm a huge fan of the alumni. Randy, answer this the best you can. I know it's a tough one, but with the Alouettes, and I know how much time it's taking up of yours, I just assumed Molson and the Canadians would buy the Owls whenever they became available. And I have not heard their name in this sale at all. I know it's a touchy subject for what you can say, but have they been in the equation at all? I mean, you look at the MLSE, Calgary, Vancouver now with the Canucks, just seems pretty easy to me.
Yeah, so Rod, the good news about your question is that I can't answer it because I made a promise to everybody that has been involved in this exercise that we wouldn't talk about who we're talking to, and they wouldn't talk about talking with us. And that's really so that what we want to do is we want to get this right. We want to ultimately announce a new ownership group and make a transaction, do a transaction that's good for the league and good for the new owners. So, Rod, maybe somewhere down the road we can have this conversation again when we're free to talk about all things Alouettes. But for now, what I can tell the fans and your listeners, I think we're on the doorstep of an exciting outcome. This process has taken a lot of time. My life as a part-time investment banker, I'd like to bring that to a close. But I feel very good about the work that's been done. And hey, look what's happened on the field. Pretty good football team there has emerged, and that's making this process all that much more exciting.
Yep, good. I respect it. I respect it. I just thought I had to ask it. The fans have a few, Randy, from Curtis Feromsky. This is regarding the tackling issues in the CFL this year, I think. He says, has there been some thoughts to bringing pads back into practice to improve tackling techniques?
Well, Rod, it's a great question, by the way, and thank you. Look, here's how I think about it. If you looked at the entire history of sports, there is going to be a time when a change was made and somebody believed that change has hurt the quality of the play. Look, there was a time when football coaches, ran their players through the desert, and that ultimately no one was allowed any water because drinking water was a sign of weakness. And then I'm sure the first time somebody brought the water cooler out, they said, oh my gosh, you're going to ruin football forever because these guys won't be tough anymore. Well, I think it's safe to say that in the modern world, we've realized there's a pretty good connection between health and water. So I think in this respect, what I'm encouraging our coaches to do, because I think we have got world-class coaches, I'm encouraging them to become the leaders in sport, in our sport, to find a way to teach those techniques that need to be learned and practiced, but to find a way to do it in a way that our players aren't getting hurt in practice. We're seeing injury rates in practice down by almost 30%. And frankly, that's a gigantic win for the future of our game. So I think it's not so much to go back to the old way of doing it to improve those skills. I think it's how do we help our coaches teach those skills in a way that are going to cause the right outcome but not to do it by stepping backwards. Plus, frankly, we all need a glass of water from time to time.
Just a couple more, Randy, because I know you're a busy guy. Doug writing in, he says, can you ask the commissioner if we can expect CFL week this year? I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, it is something that I hear consistently as I travel the country. I was in Winnipeg, as you said at the top of the show, Rod. I was in Winnipeg, and I heard the fans say the same thing there. Yeah, we are very CFL week. Can't talk about it today in terms of what our plans are, but in the context of a bigger, stronger CFL, the whole business of CFL week and our scouting combine and getting our players, in front of our fans and giving our fans a chance to meet these remarkable men that play and making it fun and tying it into amateur football and how we get more kids playing our great game. All of those things are part of it. And personally, I tell you, we love CFL week. I love CFL week. We just have to wait a little. You can be a little bit patient. Hopefully we'll have some good news before too long.
Hey, last one before we let you go. Wally was on this program this summer, and he said this football doesn't have a problem, particularly the CFL. It has a PR problem in terms of the game of football, the danger, all the rest. What's your best sales pitch for the people viewing? Clearly, they're football fans as it is, but just for the sport of football overall.
Yeah, look, Rod, there's no better sport in the world than football. First of all, it is literally the most inclusive sport on the planet. You show me a kid, and I'll show you a kid that can play on a football team. You show me a kid, and I'll show you a place on a football team where they don't just get thrown out there to pick daisies in the or clover in the field, but they're thrown out there where they can contribute and build self-esteem and learn all of the amazing lessons of teamwork and camaraderie that go with it. There's no game like it in the world. There's football, like you'll see in a CFL locker room, a CFL All-Star sitting in his locker, 6'5", 340 pounds, and five lockers down is going to be a guy who's soaking wet, and they're both world-class athletes, and everybody in between. There's no sport like it in the world where you have the variety of athletes, where there's more inclusion in a locker room. There's more requirement for teamwork. This is the best sport in the world, and you know what? I agree. Wally's right. We've had a problem, but that's literally the outcome of maybe the 20 most violent years in sports were from 1970 through the late 80s. And that's not just football. That was all sports. Look at hockey during that era. The Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies, our sports programs were largely dominated by the best fights and the biggest hits. We're transforming that culture now to a game played by remarkable athletes with great skill. I think the tackling techniques and the way the game, and we've actually got water now for the players. All of those things are contributing to a game that's never been safer. It's never been coached better than it is today. And I think we're at the big renaissance for our game, and a game that the world needs more of. Canada needs more football. The world needs more football. And the CFL and all of our partners are the perfect solution to that problem.
Outstanding. This has been awesome. Very, very positive chat. Randy, thanks for fitting us in, and thanks for all you do. And we'll catch up with you here in the second half.
Rod, thanks very much. Have a great day, guys.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.